Hello, I'm Jonathan Fox,
Justin Corelli.
Reynolds Jones.
and we are looking forward. Today we'll be discussing exponential growth, iterative artificial intelligence, and technological employment. And we're going to now start in talking about what iterative artificial intelligence means. That's a lot of big words.
Iterative artificial intelligence is an artificial intelligence that can repeatedly recreate itself, that can, if you would, learn and change its behavior. It is often called GAI, General Artificial Intelligence, and it is one of the grails, if you would, of the artificial intelligence segment of information technology.
Isn't there a distinction, though, between a general artificial intelligence and iterative?
There is, but were you to read Kurzweil and many of the other experts in the field, they see iterative artificial intelligence as simply a close step to general artificial intelligence.
My familiarity with this is that we have artificial intelligences that are working with us right now. To some degree, they're tasked artificial intelligences, yes. Right? They know how to do one thing.
Right.
They can understand your speech, or they can navigate, they can get you where you're going to go, or yes. They can, with pretty good reliability, drive a car. But what a general artificial intelligence is something that can do all those things.
Yes.
So one model is to just kind of tack in all the tasks you can think of and make a artificial intelligence soup. Where an iterative artificial intelligence actually can reprogram and learn itself, right?
Yes. But an iterative artificial intelligence, by nature, not all iterative artificial intelligences are general artificial intelligences, but the argument goes that all general artificial intelligences are iterative.
So, do you have any thoughts? That you look like you're a deer in the headlights.
Yeah, I think this topic, I think that, in some sense, is this sci-fi or is this really happening?
Mm-hmm.
Is this going to happen in my lifetime, or much slower, or maybe much faster? I guess the one thing that I think about, or it's all around us. Mm-hmm. Like you said, it's all around us. There's a lot of technologies out there that are changing the way we live. I guess in my mind, artificial intelligence, this is the pinnacle.
Mm-hmm.
And for one reason, I think is we have machines and tools that replace our muscles that help us do work, and now we have these tools that help us think. And what is there? What's next?
Mm-hmm. So I did some reading on this subject recently, and one of the things I found that was fascinating was 2001: Space Odyssey. HAL. Right? At the time that 2001 was being written, HAL was believed to be where computer technology and where artificial intelligent technology would be in 2001. We are years, at least decades, away from HAL.
Ray Kurzweil, whom I respect both for his 86% accuracy rate predicting what was coming more or less when, and for his position as the chief creative engineer for Google, predicts general artificial intelligence at a HAL level
mm-hmm.
by 2040. Other experts I've read vary from 2035 to 2050. I don't think I've read anyone who's an expert in artificial intelligence who estimates past 2050. So while I might or might not live to see it, you two and most of the audience should live to see it.
What what makes this go faster or slower?
Moore's law. And Moore's law now needs to be greatly expanded because of we now actually have a functioning quantum computer. Moore's law was a silicon law that pretty much said that, I think originally it was every 18 months, but eventually it sort of settled down to every 2 years, or the other way around. Processing power would double in silicon chip. Ultimately, that has held true, and various authors at various places, it was written in the 50s, various authors at various places, various academics have, oh no, it can't go any further, it's going to stop, but it never has. Now we probably are getting near the end of Moore's law, except that now we've developed a new style of computing that is much faster, faster. So, and doesn't use silicon. So I suspect that Moore's law in one form or another is going to continue going forward and will speed us to GAI.
Focusing a little bit for the moment on tasked artificial intelligences, something that might be interesting to you. I don't know if you've heard any of the computer composed music.
Okay.
Have you heard of any of this?
I may have not even known.
Oh, no, you would know.
Okay.
It's an interesting thing. It does show the limits of what we can do now. Just like, computerized journalism. I think these things show the limits of where we are at right now with artificial intelligences. A computer-created song, it's nice, it's melodious, it's got all the qualities, but it lacks, they're very simple. They're very early in the process, and you can see that. And you wouldn't confuse it with, human, a human composition in general, unless, to be frank, the human was a very derivative type of composer, not someone with much inspiration. The same thing, I think, goes for computerized journalism. If you slip into the sports page, you probably wouldn't notice it. But if you try and have a computer write a piece about, for example, being embedded with soldiers in Afghanistan, you could tell because it lacks a lot of the feel. Now, can computers, do you think a general artificial intelligence will be able to emulate that?
The ideal, I don't know if first generation ones will, but as they iteratively recreate themselves, it's unexplored territory, but the assertion from the experts is that they will be able to learn and function exactly as human beings do.
Yeah, well, I think that's one of the things that kind of, the Howl thing, I think they really kind of underestimated how complex human thought actually is.
Yeah.
One of the neat kind of byproducts of this development is the fact that we've, I think, learned more about how we learn. Yeah. So, what do you think? Are you scared of Skynet?
I'm not scared.
No, that was...
This stuff is... it's hard to... I don't know if I can wrap my mind around... it brings up so many questions of, can anyone predict what's coming? Who do we listen to? Why? What do I do? What do we do now? And it sounds to me, and I think we already see this. I mean, as this stuff continues to improve, I mean, it disrupts and it makes the things that came before it, antiquated quickly. And So I think it's exciting to, just to let the imagination go and see what might come about. I guess, practically speaking,
Mm-hmm.
what do we think about? How does this change the way that we think, live?
Well, when you talk about tasked artificial intelligences, right now, some operations can be performed better by an artificial intelligence with human oversight than they can by a human being. And that is a form of tasked artificial intelligence. Oh, I'm going to remove this cancerous tumor and I don't want to leave any cancerous cells. A human cannot do that. Some computer programs can. When you begin to talk about general artificial intelligence, particularly at a human level, there are ethical questions as well. I mean, are these people? Are we entitled to use them as what are effectively slaves if they're people? If they can actually think as well as we can, what differentiates them? The fact they don't have our body? What if they did have our body? Kurzweil, one of Kurzweil's things, and to a lesser degree Aubrey de Grey's things, is the idea of cyborgs. The candidate, and yes, it's a minor party candidate, the candidate for the Transhumanist Party in the United States for president right now, Zoltan Istvan, is chipped. He had a cybernetic implant, I've seen pictures, put in. I mean, I know nothing about the man, but I saw the pictures. He had a cybernetic implant put in that can take SIMs and connects, I guess, from what they said with the pictures, and that's all I know, to his brain. And that's the very, very, very earliest step of this. We can create now artificial spines. It's very expensive. We don't like doing it because it's very expensive, and insurance companies don't want to pay the money out. But if somebody is crippled, in many cases, depending on where in the spine the injury is and what type of injury it is, they can replace it with a form of fiber. I believe it's a form of fiber optics. We think we're at the edge of being able to institute co-processing with the human mind. In 20 years, we certainly will be able to. So when people like Kurzweil and others talk about transhumanism, they quite often are talking about mixing machine and human parts in order to attain a specific goal and increased intelligence or other things.
We'll have to bring that up again when we discuss education going forward and what that means, what it will mean to be educated in a world where you can have skills and knowledge just downloaded into you.
Yep.
So I asked Justin, I'm going to ask you, worries, fears, concerns?
I fear that we won't follow Asimov's 3 laws of robotics. I personally, and I'm not saying anyone else should agree with me, have no question that we're going to reach human-level GAI in certainly our kids' lifetimes, but I think in yours. And I think the 3 laws of robotics are very important, or the laws of robotics are very important, and I'm not sure they're going to be followed. There's already a move not to follow them.
No, there are 2 things about that I'm going to bring up. And this really goes kind of into science fiction territory. But number 1, which one of Asimov's laws? Asimov's had several versions, and a lot of his books were about showing how no matter what laws he created, they were always...
ways around them.
Yeah, they were supplanted. Sometimes they created their own destruction. If a robot can't allow a human to cause injury to himself, and that human decides to make bad financial or health choices,
yeah, you put him in a box.
Is the robot forced to knock a beer out of his hand? So the three laws of robotics is one thing. The more important thing, I think that this is an interesting question, is if we are considering them intelligent, if we are considering them thinking, living beings, isn't it a form of slavery to throw in those three laws?
Then should we create them?
Oh,
Should we make the societal choice not to make a race of created beings that, quite frankly, have no reason, once they gain iterative intelligence and are at a human level, to regard us as anything other than weak progenitors?
Can we stop it?
That's a good question. I don't have an answer to that. I wish I did.
Is there anything you'd like to add? You seem like you're a little bit antsy with this one.
I see we're going to have a cut of you just doing that.
Yeah. Artificial intelligence.
Yeah, well, it's coming.
Oh, it is coming.
It's here.
Yeah.
To a degree.
So, with that, maybe someone can give you some comments in the comments section. Like, share, subscribe, help Justin out. And as always, make a response video. Join in on the conversation and keep looking forward.